Hi everyone, it's Rachel here, and I am ready to introduce or continue introducing because you will have seen Sarah's video first, our new project for 2023. It's going to go from January until June, 6 months, and as Sarah said, there will be prompts every 2 weeks, and it is called Down the Garden Path. And we're super excited about it. Let me just adjust you here. So Sass has introduced it to you and explained how it's all going to work, and I'm going to talk to you about supplies and sources of inspiration. So first of all, I'm going to do mine on a spool. So I'm also going to talk about formats, what you might like to do. I'm going to take all that thread off. I might use that for basting actually. Anyway, I got this from Deb from Dollhouse Vintage or Lulu Blueworth on Etsy. I'll link her shop below. It's 7 inches tall there, but inside it's 6 2/8. In centimeters, it's 16 centimeters. So my piece will be slightly smaller than that. I might do mine 15.5 centimeters, so it stays within the confines of the spool. I have another spool. This is an antique French one. I've just put this trim on. I think my mum gave me this trim. That's a smaller one if you wanted to go smaller. So it will depend your dimensions. If you decide to put it on a spool, your dimensions, that would be 11.5, will depend on your spool or whatever you're doing. Now let's continue on with formats. My mum, I think, is going to do some sort of wall hanging. So she'll be doing a big piece, a bit like this here that I've showed you before. She's worked it on one big piece of calico, and so she's going to do something like that, and then she'll have the Down the Garden Path developing all over it. I'm imagining that's what you're doing, Mum. I'm not sure. She's not sure yet either. So she's doing something different. I think Sass is doing it on a spool like me. And then, of course, you could do it in a book format like we've done already. And for those who are new, for any of you who are new, this was the first book format we did here, and I put that on the spine, and so it all got stitched into a book, and my second one is going in a book. Some people have done bunting. So yes, there are so many formats for what you can do with the project. But also, if you didn't want to have a spool, there's you could have like a wonderful stick that you found when you're out walking, or you could have a fabulous piece of driftwood that you once collected, or and then you can attach it at the top, and your garden could develop vertically going down, and it could hang on the wall. So you have to decide. There's a few decisions to make. If you're going to do it on a spool or a stick, or would have to be a decent size stick, or you might hang it on one of those special clippy coat hanger things and hang it down the wall. There's many possibilities. You need to decide, is my design going to develop vertically, or is it going to develop horizontally? So that's it, because I'm not going to hang mine down the wall. It's going to stay on the spool, so it's going to wrap around, and you just pull it out and look at it, sort of thing, a bit like a scroll. And then if you do put it on a thing that you're going to wrap it around, you need to decide, do you want to what do you want to see when it's wrapped? So do you want to start right and move left, or do you want to start left and move right? Because the left bit is, oh, you could attach the right bit on. It depends which way you wrap it. I'm going to wrap mine around that way. So my left side of my piece is going to attach onto the spool, and then I'm going to wrap it around, and I'm going to be able to see what's on the right hand side. So in my mind, I want to see what's in the right, so I'm going to work from right to left. So that's another decision that you need to make. You know, you can make bunting down the garden path. You can make, as I said, you can make a throw. You could make a quilt. You could do anything. Our main thing is doing slow stitching, and then adding elements of embroidery and fabric collage with the slow stitching to create a beautiful piece at the end. Now, sources of inspiration. Let's move to that. Sources of inspiration can come from many places. One of our favorite places to look for inspiration is Pinterest. And there are many textile artists' images on Pinterest. Of course, you don't copy. You can take inspiration or maybe an idea. Even it could be just an idea for your background sort of thing. And then you can make it your own and do it your own way. But there are some wonderful books. So this book here is great for all the different types of stitches. I showed this in one of my recent videos and where to use the stitches. I mean, this is going to be a fabulous resource. Even for me, like I stitch, but sometimes I have to really, it hurts my brain to try and think which stitch am I going to use. And look, I mean, centers. I mean, my go-to centers are or seed stitches or what are they called? French knots, and some occasionally beads. But here we go, embroidery stitches for flower centers. So that's fantastic. So that's a really wonderful resource. So just take note of it. I won't write any of this in the description box because I'll forget. So just pause the video and write down the titles if you're interested in any of these. They're not very expensive books. This book is lovely, a lovely resource as well. It's obviously more embroidery. I'm not going to just work on a plain piece of linen background like this one is. I'm going to have slow stitching and then elements of embroidery. So, and I might do elements of applique. I don't know how it's going to evolve yet, but I'm preparing all my stuff so I'll be prepared for it. But this is a lovely, lovely book as well. It does have projects in it. But, I mean, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So you can take one or two elements from a book like this. If you struggle to there's a garden gate. How cute is that? And then all the different flowers. And you can see I've marked it. I must have used it somewhere. That idea. And so, yeah, really great resource book as well. So that's Embroidered Country Gardens by Lorna Bateman. And then we have Hand Stitched Landscapes and Flowers. And this is also wonderful because she, her embroidery is a bit looser than this type of embroidery, which is really, really densely embroidered. And she does a bit of hand painted or hand dyed fabrics, but see, these are hand dyed fabrics or like tulles, like tulles or organzas that are very thin in the colors. She stitched them down and then gone around the edge. So that's also another thing to think about when I mean, look at this, how wonderful is that, when you're creating your down the garden path. And it's a great way to fill in your background without having to embroider all of the grass, or you know what I mean, sort of things. So that's another great resource I feel for this project. Other things that I looked at in my bookshelf that I thought would be good, and they could be others. I do have some Japanese embroidery, floral embroidery books, but I couldn't, they're up a bit high and I didn't pull them out. But these little books here are really cool. I mean, they're just illustrated books, but just could give you a little idea or show you the form of a flower or something like that. That you might feel like, oh, it's a bit whiffy, this one, that you might feel like you want to be inspired by. You're not going to do that scene, obviously, it would take you forever, but you may want to be inspired by some of the flowers or something like that. And then I thought this one, I mean, some of the pages are missing in this one because I used them in the journal making, but occasionally this book, see something like that, very, more simplified, could be good. Then there's animals. So you really want the floral pages. I probably use them all. There's a few there. Just to give you a few little just to see the form of the flowers is what I'm trying to say. And then we've got to get to the materials. Now, I did have my basket. It stayed the same from the last project because I did have a lot of, I didn't have any Christmas fabrics in there really, but I have reorganized my mini baskets. I'm just looking around where they all are. But we're going to be using, I'm going to use floral fabrics. I'm going to be using laces. I'll probably be using some vintage embroideries. I might use a little bit of stamped sort of things and more in vintage embroideries. Another wonderful thing, this is an organza, I think. And I had other stuff. I've lost it. Just a sec. Oh, I put it over there. Just a second. Organza, cheesecloth, anything like that there, but that's been hand dyed. I had this velvet, which could be nice in the background. It's quite thin. And then that's just a little piece. Something was wrapped in that I received. A piece of sari silk. I might iron that. Iron might collapse at the thought of that. This is just a way of getting different textures too into your piece. I didn't bring all my Suffolk puffs over, but there's a couple here. Not that color, I wouldn't use that one, but you may want to use some Suffolk puffs here and there. And then I've just got lots of little scraps, because scraps are really useful for this kind of project. So these are mostly scraps that were left over from my last project, so I put those in a basket. And then in another basket I have the laces left over from the last project, and also I'll probably tend to use thinner laces, but I've also have in here a few. Did I have? No, I've got them in a different one. I'm telling lies. So yeah, that's just laces. And let me pick up the one I dropped, because otherwise I'll step on it. So that's that one. And I just keep these little baskets in the big basket. And then I've got some stamp bits. Not stamped. That's an incomplete project. Oh, well, there's another idea for you. You could print out a scene and include that in your whatever you're doing. And if you have the opportunity to print, obviously. And then embroider over it if you wanted to. But I've got a few fabric scraps in there. I did try to tidy up. I've got a few incomplete projects, but I've got a few of these sorts of pieces in here that you never know. I might like them. I like to keep them handy. Put that one back. That was something we did many moons ago together. So that's that one. And then I have another one over here. These are my what I would call more neutrally sort of fabrics that may or may not make it into the background, because I will be doing mostly collagey type backgrounds, but I may add in some florals. I don't know. We'll have to see. I have to sit down, and when I get started, it will come to me, I hope. So then I just wanted to show you my hoardie box, which I haven't pulled out for a while, but I did show you when we were in the other house. So that's a bit that can go in the hoardie box. So those will all just sit down in my big basket that has lots of blues and greens and linen-y sort of things in it. I don't really have anywhere else to put them at the moment, so they can just stay there. I'll just move these out of the way. So yeah, start gathering your supplies and having a think about what format do you want to do your project. I'm just going to bring up this big box. This is my beautiful, yes, it's a vintage box. Hopefully I don't crash into you when I try to open it. No, there we go. So you've seen this box before. I have just a variety, and I'll probably keep this out. I just have a variety of little bits and pieces that I like to use. And it was a pouch I made. I've got a few lacy bits, some random doilies. Yeah, that's all lacy bits and things in there. I have, that's where my Jessie Chorley project went. Haha, I need to work on that one. What's under there? Excuse me while I get distracted. Oh, that's Jessie Chorley. Got nothing to do with it. And some things that I was sent. There's a butterfly. And so yeah, it's just got a whole lot of new and old sort of fabrics. There's florals, yeah, mostly florals, and a few bits and pieces of, like, there's an embroidery. More embroidery. Lots of good things in here. I should get in here more often. That grey one that's a newer fabric, but I still like it. Just because they're new doesn't mean we need to snob them. Yeah, all different. I mean, I may or may not use them. So I just have those in there because I needed a spot for them. I'm going to put that in there. And I've got that lace there. I love that, but I might not use that. That was the camisole, falling apart camisole thing. So yeah, so that's an idea. And I had something else to tell you, and now I'm having my mind has gone blank. What was I going to say? Oh dear. You might want to, sorry, I've got also over here, you might want to use buttons. I've also got some, these were pieces. Some of them Lulu has painted, but I pulled out a few of the painted pieces of fabrics. You never know, I might want to use those. I have buttons here that were gifted to me. They're just gorgeous. And I have other buttons that Pam gave me as well, and buttons that I have purchased, so they're all lovely. And there was one other. Oh, I got these. You never know, you might want to add. I got these at the antique market. You know, you might want to add brassy things in there. I don't know. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with those, but they're all things that can be used. I think I said sari silk. I feel like I was going to say something to you, and I can't remember what it was. Let me just, where's my bodgy list that I had? Here we go. No, I think I've got, yes. Oh, I was going to say, yeah, start gathering your things together. And also think about, do you want to create a bit of texture in your piece of work? And if you do want to, I might keep these in here. If you do want to create a bit of texture in your work, then you will need to think, how am I going to do that? So then you might need, as I said, laces, cheesecloth. You might need organza, velvet, trims. You may want trims. I'm thinking I'm not going to use trims probably so much, but you never know. I will know. Sorry, I'll just put that away. I will put it around the wrong way. So I've got the bottom showing to me. But yeah, you may or may not want to use trims. I'm not sure if I'm going to be using trims. I can't tell you that right now. But these are the books. So if you need any reference books, that's a good thing to gather. You may want to start planning. Well, you can't plan because you don't know what the prompts are. Anyway, yeah, I think that's about it, really. If I forgot something, I apologize. We will address it further on. I'm sure Sarah will have said this, but I'll say it again in case she didn't. These videos are going to be in a new playlist, Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, Volume 3. So it's a new playlist on YouTube, and everything else will stay the same. The hashtag Roxy's Journal of Stitchery is the same, and also the Facebook group will stay the same. And of course, all of the other videos for the previous projects stay on YouTube for whoever wants to reference to if you're still working on those projects. So I hope you're looking forward to the new project, and that you will be joining us and have some fun with it. And yeah, with this project, we will see you in the new year. Thank you for watching. Bye.